Thank you, and I'm also very grateful to the Korean Women Development Institute to give me the opportunity to talk about Canada's feminist international assistance policy today. I should say it's an honor also to speak after Victoria today. I was posted in Sweden from 2011 to 2016, so including when the feminist foreign policy was adopted at the time. I should also mention that I was posted in New York when the Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security was adopted a long time ago now. So I've been working on those issues for quite some time, and it's very important to me. I'm also glad to see that I'm the only man on the panel today, which is a nice change from what we usually see. And normally we have to negotiate with organizers to make sure that we have more women on the panel, but obviously that was not an issue today. So I'll talk a little bit about our international assistance policy, and I'll do my best to stay within 15 minutes. So next slide, please. So our feminist international assistance policy seeks to eradicate poverty and build a more peaceful, more inclusive, and more prosperous world. And we firmly believe that promoting gender equality and empowering women and girls is the most effective approach to achieving this goal. And with the adoption of our feminist international assistance policy, we have demonstrated a strong commitment to advance gender equality and again, the empowerment of women and girls in all their diversity. I would say also that in the current context of COVID-19, the policy has proven to be a robust and strategic framework for our response to the pandemic. I won't get too much into that because I think Victoria did a very good job at explaining why a feminist foreign policy is very helpful in responding to COVID-19. Next slide, please. So the development of our feminist international assistance policy started in 2016 with the International Assistance Review. And our review included a number of areas, including our development policy, humanitarian affairs, and peace and security support. What the review did was also to enable us to align our approach to international assistance with the 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development. And this consultative all-of-government approach that was adopted by the International Assistance Review has also enabled us to leverage the expertise of citizens, civil society organizations, academics, and public servants from across Canada, both at the federal and the provincial level, but also our partners internationally. So we were able to develop a comprehensive but also evidence-based policy. And as you can see from on the slide, the review included extensive consultations. We had 9 high-level consultations in 5 major Canadian cities. We had 40 small-scale consultations with external partners. We had over 300 types of consultations in more than 65 countries. So we did go out and look for experts abroad to provide advice as we were developing our policy. And in total, over 15,000 people participated in the review in 2016. And next slide, please. So when we were doing the review, we really reflected on how Canada's international assistance could address some of the most pressing challenges that limit the economic and social opportunities for women and girls. And some of them are outlined on the slide. They include diminished access to resources, more family responsibilities and fewer opportunities, limited control of sexual health and reproductive choices. This is, if I may maybe spend a bit of time on this point, this is very important. We estimate that about 15 million girls under the age of 18 are forced to marry every year, and many end up having children as adolescents. This makes it much harder for the girls to stay in school or to find work, and that only contributes to the cycle of intergenerational poverty. So again, a very important aspect, barrier that has been identified. The other challenge, as you can see on the slide, includes an ongoing threat of sexual and gender-based violence, limited financial independence, legal barriers to work and economic freedom, fewer opportunities to attend school, and unequal participation in government decision-making. I don't think I need to say that most participants in this forum will know that studies have shown that increasing gender equality can have widespread benefits. For example, we know it has the potential to deliver strong economic growth. We've seen studies, again, that achieving gender equality around the world could increase global gross domestic product by $12 trillion in a single decade. This is quite significant, but it also has the potential to cut down on extreme poverty, reduce chronic hunger, lead to longer lasting peace, another topic on which Victoria touched in her presentation, but also benefit entire families. Next slide, please. So following this pretty extensive review, we launched our new Feminist International Assistance Policy in 2017. And with this new policy, we refocused our international assistance in order to achieve greater impact, again, for the poorest and most vulnerable by adopting this feminist and human rights based approach. And we are now putting a priority on initiatives that have the greatest potential to close gender gaps, to eliminate the barriers to gender equality we just saw, and help achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And in fact, SDG 5, achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls, is at the heart of Canada's approach to implementing the 2030 agenda, because we believe that this SDG 5, will drive progress towards achieving the other Sustainable Development Goals. So, in fact, the policy also outlines the changes to what we do, but also how we do it and where we implement international assistance. And of course, the financial aspect of this is very important. And following the launch of the policy in 2017, we've seen significant investment from our government, including every year in the budget, including in the new budget that was tabled earlier this month, which put another $1.4 billion over 5 years to support this policy. Next slide, please. So I'm talking about the Feminist International Assistance Policy, but it's important to note that this policy is part of a broader government feminist agenda in Canada. And actually it's part of our feminist foreign policy, through which we apply a feminist perspective to all our international policies and programs, including diplomacy, trade, security, development, and consular services. For example, on trade, we also have a trade diversification strategy for an inclusive approach to trade. And I'm very proud to say that earlier this year in February, we had the very first women-only business mission to Korea. It was a virtual mission because of COVID, but it shows the kind of initiative that we have to promote women and international trade. We also have our National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security. I talked about Resolution 1325 earlier. This is very important. Part of it is the LC initiative for women in peace operations. One area, in my view, where we can see strong cooperation between Canada and Korea, including our defense policy, strong, secure, engaged, which has also a very important feminist angle. So this policy, this broad foreign policy is rooted in the conviction that all people should enjoy the same human rights and the same opportunities to succeed. And so while we do this, we really put a focus on transforming systems, structures, and the norms that perpetuate gender inequalities And we pay close attention to forms of discrimination that just exacerbate exclusion, such as race, religion, sexual orientation, and ability. Next slide, please. So, yes, thank you. So our Feminist International Assistance Policy has identified 6 action areas that really guide our programming and also our advocacy and strategic policy efforts. And you'll see them on the slide. The first one is gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. This is really the core of the Feminist International Assistance Policy. We are basically supporting efforts to reduce sexual and gender-based violence, to strengthen women's organizations and movements that promote women's rights, and to improve government's capacity to provide services to women and girls, and to improve also gender analysis. The second one is human dignity, where we focus on access to quality healthcare, nutrition, and education, but also providing needs-based humanitarian assistance that better addresses the specific needs of women and girls in those humanitarian settings. The third one, growth that works for everyone. Here, the point is to help increase women's access to economic opportunities and resources. And our view is that this will help women and girls achieve the economic independence they need to take control of their own lives. The next one is environment and climate change. And here, the point is to support government's planning and initiative to mitigate and adapt to climate change, but also advance women's leadership in those areas, participate in decision-making, but also create economic opportunities for women in clean technology, for example. The fifth area is inclusive governance, where we are working to end gender discrimination by promoting and protecting human rights, advancing the rule of law, and building stronger institutions. And here we also want to put some focus on supporting greater political participation by women in political processes. And the last area, peace and security. This includes supporting greater participation of women in peace building and post-conflict reconstruction efforts, helping to increase women's representation in the security sector, but also something extremely important like enforcing a zero tolerance policy for sexual violence and abuse by peacekeepers, something that we've seen too often, unfortunately. Next slide, please. So our Feminist International Policies also comes with specific time-bound targets to make sure that we can achieve our objectives and that we can benchmark what we've done. And if you look at the slide, some of those targets include, for example, no less than 50% of our bilateral international development assistance would be directed to sub-Saharan African countries by 2021-22. I don't have the latest numbers, but as last year, we were now at 42%. So we're getting there. Another very important target was to make sure that to reach 95% of our bilateral international development assistance investment would either target or integrate gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. And right now, as of last year, we had 97% of our bilateral international development assistance that was doing exactly this. So this is very positive. And the last one I would mention is that we have, as a target, 15% of all bilateral international assistance investment would specifically target gender equality. I know that this is a bit lower than Sweden's target, if I understood correctly, but we're at 14%, so we're getting there. It's a work in progress. Next slide, please. I believe I'm coming towards the end of my time, so I'll go very quickly, but this is not only about words, it's also about how we work, and we are also changing the way we work, the way we deliver international assistance policy. So as we transform our approach, we seek to increase the effectiveness of our international assistance so we can achieve sustainable development results, again, that benefits everyone, including women and girls. And to do so, we have expanded, we have created a toolkit. We also secured new spending. We create new partnerships so we can work with the private sector and other stakeholders. We know that we cannot do that on our own. So this is new ways of doing international assistance as well. And we also have, it's more internal, but what we call guidance notes, which helps our officers in the field to make sure that they have the feminist international assistance policy lens when they develop those programs, but also when they implement the programs. Next slides, please. So as we launched our policy, we also the number of signature initiatives to support the implementation of the policy, which are at various stages of implementation. But again, we recognize they're important and they require more work from many of us. But our policy is really committed to improve evidence-based decision making by investing in better data collection and evaluation for gender equality. And this can be achieved by developing stronger and more meaningful performance indicators to track our performance and to see how we progress. And to meet this commitment, we have developed a number of key performance indicators. Again, our officers in the field and those who develop those policies can use those KPI to make sure that we're on target to reach our objectives. And some of the examples on the slide for our signature initiatives are there. I won't speak to them. I know I'm running out of time, but I would maybe draw your attention on the top two on the slide, which are, in my view, extremely important. Next slide, please. Again, I will maybe just let you go through this, but this is some of the results that we've seen. Those are numbers that we need more analysis than that, but we see that we've reached a large number of people through our new policy. Canada is now one of the top OECD donors to target gender equality. So we're making progress. We see more and more people receiving assistance through this policy that are aligned with our primary objectives of gender equality. Next slides, please. This will be my last slide. I just want to say that we're really committed to build societies that can couple economic growth with social inclusion and environmental sustainability without leaving anyone behind. And as Victoria said, and as I mentioned very briefly at the beginning, this remains true in the context of COVID-19. And we're very pleased to have this structure to support us in our response to the pandemic. So with our Feminist International Assistance Policy, we have transformed the work we do and how we're doing it. We know we're on the right track. We have evidence that shows that if given the opportunity, women will generate positive outcomes for their countries, families, and communities. We know there's more work to be done, but I can assure you that we are committed to continue on this path. Thank you again, and I'll be happy to answer questions at the end if there's a little bit of time. Thank you.